Hey guys, gals, and other pals, Hashinshin's back with another patch notes review. In patch 12.19, we mostly have off-meta buffs to a lot of different champions. So, we're going to do a chill take on this. Just sit back and we'll have you guys knowing about all the changes coming up. So, Syndra has a large rework. I'm going to look at her later because this is going to take a little bit of time to go through, and I feel like starting on a large rework is maybe not the best choice. Blitzcrank is a smaller rework. This is a large buff to AP Blitzcrank. That's right, AP Blitzcrank is getting a large, significant buff. The base attack speed of the champion is going from 0.625 to 0.65. Now, the attack speed ratio is going all the way up to 0.7. So despite having a 0.65 attack speed as his base, the rate at which he scales attack speed will scale as if he has a 0.7 base. It's really not that big a deal, so I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure why they're doing it like that, but I just felt like explaining it. The mana cost on Overdrive and on Power Fist is going up, but Overdrive is getting more attack speed. In addition, whenever Overdrive is up, now that's when he goes choo 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 and starts running around, he will get 1% max HP damage per auto attack. That's really not that much, because that means if he attacks you 10 times, somehow he's gonna do 10% health damage, which is like, it's good, but it's nothing substantial. The big buff here is when he hits non-champions, so minions and more in particular, the jungle, because they're trying to bring back jungle Blitzcrank, which I probably don't think is a good idea if I'm gonna be real with you. That one might be silly. That one might be one of those silly changes where we come back in 2 months and after nerfing Blitzcrank every patch for like 3 months, we're like, yeah, maybe let's just kill, maybe let's just, you know, like cancel the jungle Blitzcrank. But anyway, whenever he hits a non-champion, he will get an additional 60 to 180 damage. This will let him clear the jungle, not quickly, but in a reasonable speed. So Power Fist is getting a slight increase to its knockup duration, which actually does matter a lot. Even 0.1 seconds can be the difference between death and life when you're fighting Blitzcrank with his pull. In addition to that, it's getting its AP ratio increased from, well, nothing to 0.25, which is not a significant amount at all, and it's on physical damage, so it would be very actually insignificant. But, you know, it's something for AP Blitzcrank. In addition to that, against non-champions, so once again, the jungle, his E will now deal an additional 150% total AD and then an additional 125% AP damage. I'm a bit worried about this one, to be blunt, because I think this will actually give Blitzcrank a fairly good kill secure on things like Dragon and Baron. And I don't really think that jungle Blitzcrank A needs to be viable, and B, between this bonus damage and this bonus damage, we're gonna see Blitzcrank kind of, you know, power fisting the jungle at a rate that might not be healthy. Now for his ultimate, if you all remember, his ultimate, you can, every time you auto attack someone, puts a stack on them. Then every 1 second, it removes a stack and does damage to them. The maximum stacks you could have waiting to do damage was 3. They're changing it from 3 to unlimited. That's not really that significant of a change, but it's pretty good. Anyway, the on-hit damage from that effect has its AP ratio now scale with the ranks on his ultimate from 30% flat to 30 to 50%, which I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I am not sure I'm okay with this. I'm not sure I'm okay with any of this. In addition to that, and yeah, I keep saying in addition to that, it is going from 100% AP to 125% AP when he activates his ultimate. As a whole, we are going to very likely see some jungle Blitzcrank, which is something that when you say that out loud, you are already filled with dread. I'm not sure why Riot is buffing and main. I'm not sure why they're enabling something that will fill us all with dread and horror, and just lots of dread and horror, if I'm gonna be real with you. They're also fixing a bug where his W movement speed would decay inconsistently or too quickly. In other words, sometimes the movement speed decayed really fast and sometimes it decayed really slow. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good bug fix. You probably don't want your movement speed being a dice roll, right? Oh boy. So I said that they should really not buff Ekko's AP ratios. They are, in fact, buffing Ekko's AP ratios. Riot lies when they say Ekko's been weak for a few. Ekko has been a bit weak for a few patches now. He's not. I assure you, he's not. I really disagree with this change. I have fought many Ekkos today alone, and he does not feel like the sort of champion that should be getting a late game buff. Just to be clear, Ekko's late game is fine. His early game is weak. You can literally see the base damage is so insignificant at 30 to 140. But the 80%, now 90% AP ratio means it scales like a truck. The problem with Ekko is he scales really well to the point where he basically one-shots people, but he's just really weak early game. I don't believe Tank Ekko is going to come back at this point, and Riot should really have just buffed up. If they wanted to buff him, which I don't think they should, but they should have just given him like 10 more base damage on his passive, rather than giving him a significant late game damage increase. In addition, and you will get frustrated at me saying in addition, the AP ratio on his ultimate is going from 150 to 175%. So that means that if you get hit by Ekko's ultimate, instead of dying, he will now kill your entire family, line, history, everyone, your mom even, they're gone. Fizz, okay, so much like with Ekko, I did not think that Fizz should get an AP ratio buff. If they did want to buff him, I thought to myself, why not buff his base damage, which is really low? Unfortunately, Riot is buffing his AP ratio. The issue is Fizz one-shots people late game and is too weak early game, so they're buffing his late game even further. The AP ratio on his E is going from 0.75 to 0.9. Hard disagree with this one. Garen, I'm going to show you why I disagree with this Garen change. Now, the other two are a bit opinionated. This Garen change is not opinionated. This is stupid. This is factually stupid. This is not an off-meta buff. How do I know that? Because Mortal Reminder is the second item on Garen with a 60% pick rate. Unless 60%, more than half of Garen players are playing off meta, I do not believe that Mortal Reminder is off meta, that Crit Garen is off meta. That's not off meta if everybody is doing it. That's not how this works. So, his critical strike damage is going from 58% to 75%. He then gets an additional 1% per 1% bonus critical strike damage. So that's just Infinity Edge. Does everybody get that? Infinity Edge continues to work on Garen's E. Seemingly, Riot thought that Crit Garen was a good idea and that Mortal Reminder was really fun. I'm holding my tongue here as to how much I think Riot is being non-intelligent. Jinx is getting buffed. Riot's continuing to buff every single AD carry in the entire game. They are not stopping, and we are now at the Jinx train. So Jinx is getting her base damage buffed from 57 to 59. Okay. Still reasonable base damage. We haven't entered stupid territory. Her Mega Death Rocket is also getting a 50 flat damage buff against the primary target. Not against everyone in the AoE, but whoever it slams into, 50 more base damage. Kai'Sa, who is... I'm just going to show you. Kai'Sa, who is literally the most picked AD at 25% pick rate at every single rank. Well, okay, at the low ranks she's not, but the low rankers, you guys are morons, you don't count. Kai'Sa is the most popular AD in the entire game. Therefore, Riot is buffing her. I don't know why either. I don't even know anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. I have ceased trying to reason with Riot and even understand it. The problem is when you make a bit, when you take a meta champion and give them multiple builds that are viable, The problem quickly becomes that it becomes harder to counter build. They can find an even better build. It just is not a good idea at all to buff currently the best bot lane champion. Malphite is actually getting nerfed. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Thunderclap is getting its AP ratio buffed. Unstoppable Force is getting its AP ratio buffed. How could Malphite be getting nerfed? Because now when Sylas steals Malphite ult, it's now a 0.9 AP ratio. Now, when you play against Sylas's Malphite, he can hurt you even harder. They're buffing AP Malphite. I'm not sure why. Probably to try to push Demonic Embrace on him. They seem to be trying to push Demonic Embrace on every single tank lately. It's kind of ceased to be an interesting and unique and niche item. And instead, it seems to be the item that they're trying to push onto everyone. So the AP ratio on his W is going from 0.2 to 0.3. The AP ratio on his ultimate is going from 0.8 to 0.9. This just seems like a Demonic Embrace Malphite is being pushed. So we'll probably see Sunfire Demonic Embrace Malphite. I don't think that's a good idea from Riot. Once again, to push one of the least interesting, most frustrating builds in the game. But what do I know? Except that I'm always right. Master Yi is getting nerfed because he's really overpowered. Bel'Veth is not getting nerfed because she's practically the same champion with basically the same stats, but she's new, so therefore she doesn't get nerfed. Either way, Master Yi is losing attack damage growth. That means per level, he's going to get 0.3 less damage. That means at level 18, he will get 5.4 less base damage. It's not significant, but it's not insignificant. Then, and perhaps this is the significant one, the AD ratio on his E is going from 0.35 to 0.3. This is because Master Yi has started to build Sunfire, so in order to counteract that, Master Yi only needs 1 or 2 damage items, then can build Sunfire and be really tanky. They're nerfing his scaling. Yeah. I think that obviously Riot should have toned down. If they're going to tone down anything, they should have toned down the base damage, not the scaling. I'm not 100% as to what they were thinking with this one. I don't, sometimes I feel Riot doesn't really understand the issue. They don't know really, they see a champion and they think OP, like OP, and they think nerf, and they look at their numbers and they're like nerf, and they just like throw a dart at a board. Attack damage growth and AD ratio on his E. There, we did it. We saved the world from Master Yi. We did it, everyone. Now we're to Nasus. This one, I think, is a very, 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 very poor decision, and I'll get into it. Nasus is going from 25 bonus range on his Q, so 150, to 50 bonus range on his Q, to 175. While that is fair, you typically get 50 bonus range on every special attack. The issue is this is a very, very significant buff for Nasus. So being fair also does cause him to get buffed really hard. Wither is going from 50% of the movement speed slow as an attack speed slow to 75% of the movement speed slow as an attack slow. In other words, and Riot was actually nice enough to show the numbers here, the slow for attack speed is going from 23.5 to 47.5, so the attack speed slow never actually reached 50%. Now it is 35.25 to 71.25. The attack speed slow is going to make him very, very powerful. It's going to mess with a lot of matchups, and it will power him up in a really unfun way. I wish Riot would sometimes understand off meta can often mean off fun. I don't enjoy fighting Nasus at all. I don't care if he's off meta. I don't want him to be meta. I want him to go away forever, for I hate him and his family and everything about him, and he's stupid and he's fat. Bury the Sands. Okay, so the size increase from his ultimate is going from 30% to 30 to 40%. I don't know why. This just seems, I mean, I guess he'll block more, but it'll also be harder to dodge stuff. Riot seems to have the idea that, like, whenever players see a size increase on a champion, they're like, yes, oh, Nasus is gonna be bigger, oh, yay. And, like, everyone else is like, neat, cool. That doesn't really do much. The only thing I can think of is it'll allow him to ult and then get slightly more range on his Wither. I think Wither still goes, like, from the edge of his hitbox. It's confusing. It'll get him slightly more range on something. I don't know. AoE radius of Nasus' damage now increases based on his size. So this is something people didn't know. If you got too big on Nasus, you could actually, and this is true, you could actually get too big to where your damage aura was a lower range than your auto attacks. So you had to run into even closer range than your auto attacks to actually do damage. It's a bit weird, but you know, they're fixing it and I have no complaints on that. Now, his ultimate will now tick its damage every 0.5 seconds instead of every 1. Note, overall damage is unchanged. They just doubled the tick rate on it. Ryze still is a small indie company and cannot afford servers where the ultimate could tick more than 2 times a second. A server tick rate of 2 on his ultimate is the most they can afford. Okay, and there's also a bug fix where Nasus' damage over time text was not stacking. Not a big deal, nobody really cares. Nunu! AP Nunu is getting the AP ratio on his ultimate increased from 250% to 300%. Ryze says here, we're giving AP Nunu some more strength so that he can more effectively one-shot squishies. Which, I guess that's fun for Nunu, but what's right for you might not be right for some. Rakan, I'm actually glad I did read these tooltips before. There are a small number of people out there that are AP Rakan enjoyers, and we want you to know that we see you. These buffs are for you. Also, support Rakan could use some use some help as well. Support Rakan does build some AP items. He does get the AP support item, you know, at level 1. So these buffs will help him a tiny bit. How much? Not really that much. His shield's AP ratio is going up by 10%, and his Q's damage is going up by 10%. These are not significant. With the 40 AP you might have early game as support Rakan, that's 4 more shield and 4 more damage. It's not gonna break the bank, but it will mean AP Rakan might do something. It also means a mid-game Rakan, if he gets up to like 100 ability power, he'll get like 10 more shield and 10 more damage. It's probably gonna affect his win rate by like 0.1, 0.2%. I really doubt it'll do more than that. Rek'Sai, after like 4 years, Riot finally noticed Rek'Sai was the most broken jungler in the game by actually kind of a lot. And she has been extremely easy to play and pretty dominant. Her pick rate and win rate are, where is Rek'Sai? Her pick rate actually is kind of low this patch. Oh no, wait, because I'm not looking at Masters. There we go. Yes, when you start looking into the higher ranks, Rek'Sai gets absolutely busted. She is broken. She is practically an auto win. Her stats are on par with Bel'Veth, who's not getting nerfed, and I will keep mentioning that Bel'Veth isn't getting nerfed because she is monstrously overpowered and zero fun to fight. We can see that Master Yi is getting nerfed and Rek'Sai is getting nerfed, but Bel'Veth is evidently perfectly fine and 100% balanced. She is a Riot August 100% confirmed, very wholesome Chungus champion. Very wholesome. Same win rate, higher pick rate, significantly higher ban rate at 24%. But she's so wholesome Chungus 100, we can't nerf her. This concludes the Bel'Veth rant. Ryze is getting AP ratio buffs. Not mana buffs, but AP ratio buffs. 5% buff on his Q, but remember that does get buffed. Like when you put E on someone, then Qs, it does double damage. So, you know, this is gonna be a giga AP ratio of what, 1.1 AP. That's actually really big. His W is also getting a 10% AP ratio buff from 0.6 to 0.7. Ryze will scale better and do more damage. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure that's what Ryze was missing. Even now, if you pick Ryze and you get late game, you typically kill people by just EQ, because it's already a 1.0 AP ratio on his Q. So you smack someone twice with them, that gets to be, you know, like 2,000-3,000 damage late game. EQ, yeah. So most AD carries and anyone squishy dies instantly. So I don't know if he really needed AP ratio buffs. I don't know if that's what his weakness was, but okay. Shyvana. Okay, I have actually very disappointing news for Shyvana players. A lot of you saw that Shyvana was being buffed and you ran in excited. Shyvana's being buffed. Oh boy, I can't wait to play my favorite dragon. She's not doing good right now. I can't wait for Riot to buff her and not accidentally nerf her. Unfortunately, Riot accidentally nerfed her. I'll prove it right here. They're giving her an AD ratio buff on her W. So instead of 10% bonus AD, it's 15% bonus AD. Instead of 5% bonus AD, it's 7.5 bonus AD on hit. The AD ratios are still pretty small, but at least they'll do something now, right? I mean, at least you might hit a decent actual amount of AD on the champion on her W. It's not gonna be, you're not gonna hit like 2.0 AD, but you might hit like, you know, 1.5 AD. And so, I mean, it's a good buff. Her E, the on-hit damage is being lowered from 3.75 to 3.5. I know you're saying, oh, but that's okay. I get more AD ratio here, and they're buffing her E. They are. Her E is going from a 0.7 AP ratio to a 0.9. They're also raising the AD ratio from a 0.3 to a 0.4. By God, you say. Well, boy, that huge AP ratio. Thank you, Riot, for buffing my... No. Because in Dragon form, they're lowering the bonus damage by 25. Meaning, you will need over 100 AP, so more AP than a Demonic Embrace, just to break even. AD champions cannot break even. They would need 250 damage just to break even. Not to do more damage, just to break even. So the combination of this flat damage nerf, which affects you early game, because it's 25 the entire game, 25 early game is more than 25 late game. In addition to the 25 early game nerf, you're getting your on-hit nerfed. In return, for a decent, pretty good AP ratio buff, an insignificant AD ratio buff, and then a small AD ratio buff to her W. I cannot imagine that this will actually help Shyvana. At best, this is gonna break even. At best, AP Shyvana gets a large buff, while Tank Shyvana gets a nerf, and AD Shyvana maybe breaks even. Considering Tank Shyvana is the only way to make her viable right now, they're buffing the wholesome, funny, quirky AP Shyvana build, which is so funny and wholesome because they're buffing that and nerfing the actual good Shyvana that, doesn't play like a stupid idiot. Dummy. Sona is going up 10 base damage on her Q, and her slow is going up by 10%. This isn't really a buff to like off meta Sona. This is just a buff to Sona. This isn't off meta Sona. This is Riot literally just saying, yeah, Sona's too weak, which I do kind of agree. I think they could maybe have made her more tanky, maybe, but okay, more slow is good, I guess. More damage by 10 is fine. Overall, I have no complaints. I don't really have anything to say here. Tahm Kench, the AP ratio on his Q is going from 0.7 to 0.9. The AP ratio on his W is going from 1.0 to 1.25. I actually have an issue with this. It seems that Riot is trying to force Demonic Embrace onto like every tank with the buff to Malphite's AP ratios, the buff to Tahm Kench's AP ratios, the buff they did was it last year or 2 years ago? They did to Zax's AP ratios. It feels like they want every single tank to go Sunfire or Iceborne into Demonic, and then just, you know, one-shot people at 2 items. I'm not sure why they want that. Demonic Embrace is quickly going from a kind of fun niche build choice on tanks, and it's going from that into very quickly becoming the item that every tank just sort of goes because it's good on them. With a 0.9 AP ratio on his Q and a 1.25 on his W, that means that he will have pretty damn good AP ratios, Tahm Kench. You have to consider that his shield AP ratio is insanely large, meaning that Tahm Kench actually will scale pretty good with AP. I think that's weird. Tahm Kench always scaled based on health. He built tanky, really tanky. That was his thing. He built really, really, really tanky, and then still did damage. I would rather they have buffed his passive ratio back a little bit than just sort of went, haha, funny, quirky, Demonic Embrace. It's so funny how quirky it is, because you do damage as a tank. Isn't that funny and wholesome? I don't know. Give it a year and we're gonna see AP ratios on Malphite's Brittle added. No, not Brittle, that's Ornn's Brittle. Suddenly Ornn will go Demonic Embrace and two-shot you, and it'll be so wholesome and funny because a tank will do it. AP Twitch is getting buffed. The ratio on his passive is going from 2.5 AP to 3% AP. I believe this is them undoing a nerf they did earlier when AP Twitch was too strong and was kind of actually dominant. I'm not 100% sure why they're doing that. They're also buffing the AP on his Contaminate from 33% to 35%. Although these buffs don't seem that significant, do remember his passive stacks a lot, and it is true damage. His Contaminate also stacks a lot, and it gets really, really, really high damage. I'm not sure that this is a good idea from Riot Video Games, but they are doing a lot of things this patch that I'm not sure are good ideas. So I'ma just move past it. You know, sometimes you just move past things that give you a bad case of diarrhea. Okay, okay, these are new. I literally didn't, I need to do a page refresh here. These were not here when I last looked at Udyr, but okay. He is getting a minimum bonus damage on his awakened Q bounce. That's when he awakens it and instantly one-shots you in a brush. But then if he tries to instantly one-shot you in a minion wave, the lightning things, are they lightning? The little bouncy bounces bounce to minions, and they did like no damage. But now they'll have minimum damage, so they'll bounce to minions and I guess hurt the minions, and I'm gonna be dead honest, I'm not really sure what the point of this change is. His Iron Mantle, instead of a 50% heal reduction, will have a 40% heal reduction. So top lane Udyr will be able to keep his health up a little bit more against minions, which is fine, I guess. I think top Udyr has some other issues right now, but it does help his issues a little bit. I will be honest. It does help alleviate some of the pains he has right now, in that a lot of champions can bully him out of the lane really, really hard. But I don't think it does enough, particularly with the scaling nerfs he got last patch. Wingborn Storm is getting the damage to minion nerf from last patch reverted. So I'm not gonna say the actual numbers. They're just what they used to be, they will be again. Okay, I'm speaking to you right now, Assassin community. I did not do this Eclipse change. At no point did I come up with this Eclipse change. Every time something bad happens to any champion ever, I see you guys on your subreddits hating me For 0. I did nothing. When I say Eclipse is overpowered, I did not say we should nerf Eclipse on assassins and buff it on fighters. I didn't say that, and I did not intend that. That wasn't me. Don't hate me for that. Riot did that. That wasn't me. So let's read it. Eclipse has been popular on several Bruiser champions and is generally outperforming other Bruiser mythic items. It has also been the best lethality mythic on assassins and range lethality users for quite some time. So we're taking down its overall power and reshaping this item to better fit the stats fighters would like moving forward while keeping it as a viable purchase for assassins. Everyone pay attention here. I did not at any point say that they should reshape it to better fit the stats of fighters would like. I did not intend that nor want that. Don't blame me. I didn't do that. Okay? Okay. The bonus attack damage is going from 55 to 60. The lethality is going from 18 to 12. Now, I'm assuming this is to break its synergy with Black Cleaver and to break its synergy with Cyrilda's, because no longer we'll be able to have the 18 lethality and then stack a whole bunch of % armor pen. Having 12 lethality will make that strategy weaker. The damage going from 55 to 60 is okay. I have no complaints about this change. I just know, as I was reading these patch notes, I just knew that when they said we want to make it better fit the stats fighters would like, then suddenly every community would blame me like somehow I run Riot video games and somehow I mastermind all the patches. I don't think this item should fit bruisers. I think it's fine. I think it's too generalist of an item. If anything, I would like it remade into a bruiser item, sure, but I don't think they should just take it away from assassins. I think they should just split it into 2 different items. I'm not going to go much further into it, but that's what I would do if I had the power. This is VFX updates, so now we're going to go back to Syndra. This is going to need some explaining. Okay. Her base health is going down 30. Now, she has a Veigar-esque, Veigar-adjacent stacking passive. It's not exactly like Veigar, it's kind of like Victor. Victor's probably a better way to compare it to, but everyone kind of knows Veigar. Whenever she hits an enemy champion with 2 abilities within 4 seconds, she gets 1, 2, 3 splinters at levels 1, 11, and 18. So for all the early and some of the mid game, it will only be 1 splinter on an 8-second cooldown. Whenever she levels up, she will get 5 splinters. Whenever she kills a canyon minion, she will get 1 splinter. Does everybody have that? So she does actually get a good chunk of hunk of splinters just by leveling up. She can harass people and get splinters. So it's not, okay. So how do the splinters now work? And I'm going to go through the splinter concept and then we'll talk about the actual changes. With 40 splinters, it enhances her Q. With 60 splinters, it enhances her W. With 80 splinters, it enhances her E. With 100 splinters, it enhances her R. Then, if you get all the way up to 120 splinters, you get 15% total AP. Then, whenever she collects a splinter, she restores some mana. Does everybody get that? You stack up to 120, you start at 40 enhances your Q, and each 20 splinters after that enhances something else. Pretty normal, right? So what are the changes are they doing to the champion? Her Q cooldown is going from 4 to 7, but the mana cost is going down and the AP ratio is getting buffed. In addition, when she gets to 40 splinters, she can now take 2 stacks of her W, or I guess 2 charges. So she can save her she can save her Q up and get 2 charges on it, which is neat, I guess. It does have a 1.25 second static cooldown, so she can Q, E, Q, pick up a Q, a W, and then just ult you, which is okay, I guess. They're trying to push her into being a burst mage, and seemingly they're trying to push her far away from being a sustained damage mage. Her W is basically being unchanged. It's just some changes here that aren't really that big a deal, so I'm not going to talk because there's a lot of text here. When she reaches 60 splinters, her W will now deal 15 and then an additional 1.5% per 100 AP true damage. As of now, Syndra deals 20% of her W in bonus true damage. So it equals out at about 333 AP ratio. Past 333, it will do more damage than now. Before 333, it will do less damage than now. Her Scatter of the Week is going from an 18, it says to 15, but it's 14. 18 to 14 second cooldown to a 15 second cooldown flat. So a slightly longer cooldown late game, a shorter cooldown all throughout the early to mid game. The stun duration is going down, though, from 1.5 to 1.25. The damage is also going down, losing 10 to 30 damage and 0.05 AP ratio. However, the scatter angle, because right now it's a pretty narrow angle, the scatter angle is going up, and then when you get splinters, the scatter angle is going way up. So when she gets those 80 splinters, she will be able to scatter everything in front of her, allowing her to get every melee champion off her, everyone off her, the entire minion wave off her, hit every orb on the entire field, which is fine. Not really that much to say. Her R is losing base damage at the later ranks, so it's going from 90 to 190 to 90 to 170, and the AP ratio is going down from 20% to 17%. The eventual 120 splinters mostly restores that AP ratio. I'm just going to add that now so people don't rage out. So late game, like hyper late game Syndra ult will deal about the same damage. Her ultimate now passively grants 10 to 30 ability haste, but only on her Q. So remember that when you're looking at the bonus, the cooldown going up. Additionally, when you get to 100 splinters, Unleash Power will now execute every champion below 15% max health that you hit. In total, this looks interesting. I'm not sure if it'll be a buff. There's a lot of moving parts here. I can't really say for sure if it's going to be better or if it's going to be worse. I think that there are actually a significant number of nerfs onto this. She's very much going to be a burst mage, and very much like Vex, if she fights a tank, she will struggle really, really hard because that 7-second cooldown will not be made up by this ability haste. But with 2 charges on her Q, it will be much easier for her to Q into a Q to a 3rd Q. Now, after that 3rd Q, though, she's going to have problems because she will not have any damage after that. But the execute buff here, the late game true damage buff here, and the total AP buff here actually don't do much. Because actually I did before I made this video, I did math it out. Because her old Q from maxing it used to give it more damage. This 120 splinters puts her Q actually at the old AP ratio from when she had 5 points in it. Her 120 splinters also basically restores her ult to its old AP ratio. In other words, Syndra has been pushed pretty hard into the late game, been pushed kind of decently out of being an early game pick that just one-shots you at level 6. They did give her that execute. As we reach the late game, Syndra will definitely be more powerful at assassinating basically everybody. The weakness and the downside of her being better at assassinating everybody is she's going to have a bit of a weaker early game. It's hard to say with this splinter system how many she's going to have, if she'll be able to reach 120 in a reasonable time. Is 120 a late game thing? Is that a mid game thing? Are you going to have that even by level 10? I don't know. There might be a world where people do get it at level 10 or 13. I don't know. To me, it feels like 120 splinters is going to be more of a late game thing, but I don't know. At either rate, she's going to have far less mana issues. She will have a little bit more damage in the late game on her W with the true damage, but her sustained damage is going to go way down on this one. Her sustained damage is going way down. I shouldn't say way down. Her sustained damage is going down a little bit, and she's definitely going to be better into squishies and worse into tanks. So that's all I can really say about Syndra. Other than this, we're just going to have to go out and actually fight her to see what she does. Now let's go to, I didn't see any bug fixes that actually impacted anything. So, oh, well, I should mention this one. When using Collector as Jhin, the execute damage will be displayed now as 444 instead of 999 or 9999. So execute on Jhin with Collector will now always be 4444, which is funny. It's the funny 4 number. I don't see anything wrong with this, and this will probably make some Jhin players happy. So, you know, good job, Ryze. Actually, I think that's pretty funny. Actually, I think this is a good change. I appreciate it. This is a good one. I like it. Okay, on to skins. We have Prestige Spirit Blossom Master Yi. Let me close my camera so you guys can get the full picture here. Not much to say. Can't really comment. Spirit Blossom Aphelios. It's Aphelios. Once again, don't really know what to comment here. I mean, Aphelios has always kind of looked like a generic boy band character, and now he looks even more like a generic boy band character. Fair enough. Spirit Blossom Darius. Ooh, we're going with like a... Oh, who does this look like? Oh, this looks like somebody from an anime. That's actually a pretty cool look for Darius. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. That's pretty cool. Oh, man. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I like that really a lot. I think that when I see that in game, yeah, we'll have to see how it looks in game. Spirit Blossom of Evelyn. Somehow the Spirit Blossom skin that basically was straight up hentai for Ahri is now actually covering Evelyn almost entirely up. Why does Evelyn get covered up, but Ahri does basically a hentai fan art? It's like Rule 34 Ahri, but then Evelyn gets all dressed up. You know, I'm not gonna complain. It's whatever. Spirit Blossom Master Yi. Why did they list? They always do the prestiges last. So why did they do the prestige first this time? So wait, prestige is hipster. I kind of thought that was his look. No, prestige just turns him into hipster Yi, but the regular one kind of looks cool. But once again, I'll have to see it in the game to judge. Spirit Blossom set. It's set with his shirt off. Not much more to say. It just looks like set. I mean, it kind of just looks like set. I'm gonna be honest. I'll have to see it in game, but it's not filling me with joy, to be honest with you. Spirit Blossom Soraka. Yeah, that's Soraka. I'm not saying it's uninspired. I'm just saying it's kind of, yep, that's Soraka. I mean, yep. Spirit Blossom Syndra. It's a different look for her, I'll give you that. Most of the Syndra skins just make her did that really say Syndra? Yeah. Didn't Syndra just get a skin, or am I nuts? So yeah, it's a different look for Syndra. It's not a bad idea to give her a different look, but you know, catch me when I'm in game and I can't recognize the champion I'm fighting, and I'm like, is that Ahri? Spirit Blossom Tristana. Okay, it's like Devil Tristana, except now she's weeb. It's like if Devil Tristana decided to become a weeb. Okay. Spirit Blossom Yorick. Okay, I feel like this one kind of copied the Darius one though, because this is kind of just what they were doing with Darius, but they also then went ahead and did it. It's like the same face. It's like they were like, man, that's really cool on Darius. Let's do it again on Yorick. Right? Just me? I'm not crazy, am I? Okay. Okay, I do kind of like the mask maiden. The ghouls with the mask. Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's cool. If I was a Yorick player, I'd literally be shitting cum right now because it's probably the best skin he's gotten in a very long time. Okay, now let's look at in-game. Aphelios. Yep, he looks like a boy band member. Not much to comment here. It's Aphelios with his shirt off. Darius. Ooh. Not gonna lie, little bit of a downgrade when I'm looking at it in game. I'm not saying it's bad, but you know, when I saw this, right? I saw this and I was like, oh, wow. When I look at it in game, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's definitely a little bit of a downgrade. Definitely a bit of a downgrade. The base coloring, I'm not a big fan of it, but are any of the chromas good? No. Oh boy, this is a very large disappointment. I'm actually very disappointed right now. Oh, I'm very disappointed. Wow, really? This is bad. Oh boy. The red isn't red enough. It needs to be a blood red. That's not red enough. And why is his axe pink? Why would you make his axe pink? The green one isn't bad, but it's not good. And the coloring doesn't look right. This one is just bad. It's off. This one's just not a good color. This one's... Why the blue hair, though? This one is pink hair? I don't know what they're going for with this one. This one's okay, but it's not... No. This one's just off. I mean, I could see... This one's probably his best one, but it doesn't even fit the theme of the skin. And this one... I'm very disappointed right now. I'm actually very, very, very disappointed. I got my hopes in... my hopes were so large, and then they were dashed horribly against a wall. This is the most disappointing moment of my day. Spirit Blossom Evelynn. Wow, it's actually a covered up, non-sexualized Evelynn. Like, it's still sexualized, but for Evelynn, this might as well be the first lady, you know? If you want to play Evelynn and you don't want to awkwardly be, you know, hyper-sexualized mega sex slut demon, then yeah, this is the skin for you. Which actually, I'm gonna be honest, I know I've said this 1900 times, but I will make the joke again. I do not enjoy playing any character designed to make people masturbate. I find that awkward. Spirit Blossom Master Yi. Well, shit, he looks badass as fuck. God damn it. God, he's got so many good chromas. Are you kidding me? Why does he get the freaking badass fucking awesome goddamn fucking awesome purple chroma, and then Darius is like do 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 beep, and then Master Yi just like, come on, Riot. And then you look at, oh man, like every chroma is awesome. Every chroma is awesome. Every one of them are amazing. Everyone. There's not a single bad chroma here. There's not a single bad chroma. The worst one is probably the green and the yellow. I could see myself using every chroma here and loving it. I think the only one I might not use is the yellow. Every one of these other ones look amazing. This is stupid. Spirit Blossom set. Okay, so they're going for like an Inuyasha look. Now that I'm looking at it, this is basically Inuyasha. Right? Like, am I wrong? Hold on here. Let me bust out Inuyasha. So, I mean, like, right? Can we get like a side-by-side comparison? I mean, this is clearly Inuyasha, right? I mean, come on. Right? Okay. So, as far as the actual looks go, I don't think it gets better than the base chroma. That coloring is off, that coloring is off, that coloring is also off, that coloring is off, that coloring is off, and shockingly, that coloring, you guessed it, it's off. So for the Inuyasha skin, yeah, the base one's probably the best you can get. Yeah. Whoops. We went too far, Captain. Okay, now we're on Soraka. Okay, Soraka just looks like a 16-year-old anime girl. I mean, are they going for like a Kagome look for her? Is that what they're doing? Is she Kagome? She kind of just looks like the, you know, like secondary character of like a romance anime. You know what I mean? Like the sweet, pretty girl. It's not bad. It's not blowing my mind. Like it's not sticking out and doing anything where I'm like, wow, I really want that. That's so cool, right? Yeah. It's not blowing my mind. I do like how the different chromas give her a slightly different dress each time. I think they do that for a lot of the female skins. They put a lot more effort into the female skins. As seen. So, yeah, it's fine. Speak about some Syndra. I swear to God, I will think this is Ahri. I'm gonna go in game, and I'm gonna see Ahri. I swear I will. Other than that, yeah, it's a pretty skin. Pretty good. Pretty cool. Yeah, lots of good chromas here. You can kind of pick your own waifu. You know, do you like the blonde waifu, the purple waifu? Do you like the more, I don't know what this looks like, but it's like the waifu? Do you want like the evil waifu? Do you want the green-haired waifu? Do you want the subtle white and purple waifu? Do you want the super purple waifu? Do you want the dark-haired waifu? I'm done making the joke. I'm moving on. Okay, so Devil Tristana cosplaying as a weeb. Is she wearing a skirt? I didn't notice that the first time. I feel like a Yordle wearing a skirt is weird. Is that just me? It's a bit weird. I don't like it. I don't like it anymore. It feels like they're trying to make schoolgirl Tristana, which feels off. In the art, I don't really get the idea that they're going for schoolgirl Tristana. Where is it? It's not like, I don't really get schoolgirl Tristana vibes from this, right? But then I look at the skin and it literally looks like they're just trying to do schoolgirl Tristana. No, I'm not sure I like it at all. Okay. Yorick, at least he's got some good chromas. I think his base is a little off, not gonna lie. But this chroma looks... Okay, see what I was talking about with the blood red? See what I was talking about? If they just made Darius's weapon a blood red, it would have been good. Okay, so this is obviously the chromas everyone's gonna use. This one's good. This one's really good. Yeah, this one's really good. This one's okay if you want the black and white aesthetic. The white one is a bit off. I'm not sure I feel it. The purple is pretty good. This chroma is just the better version of the base skin, by the way. The other chromas are kind of throwaways. Don't like them. So basically, you're looking at these three chromas, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay, Crystal Rose Akshan, Tiffany and Co. Okay, Ryze trying to sell diamonds to their player base. I don't know who they think we are, but I'm not affording Tiffany. Are you kidding me? Crystal Rose Swain, Tiffany and Co. Once again, how much money do you think I got here, Riot? Because it's not as much as you think. And Crystal Rose Zyra, Tiffany and Co. Yeah, I'm poor. I'm poor as shit. We're all poor. We play Riot games. We got no time for lives. Well, let's put on the best skin, and it's Chroma's. In fact, let's just put on the art for it. And let's read the Patreon names. So, thank you to all my Patreon followers. Thank you guys completely. And make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, all that stuff. I'm going to read the names of my Patreon followers. If you want to join my Patreon and support videos like this and support me, you know, having money to buy food, not to buy Tiffany Chromas, but you know me, I actually, you know, tend to buy food with my money, not Tiffany skins, okay? Anyway, you can go down into the link, into the description and find the link to join my Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you can support me. So, reading the people who subscribe the most first, and then going down. Thank you. Ezekiel Cuevez, Monica, Stefan Ortman, Nicholas Hinderer, T the Fish, 3 and a Hook, Alex Tennant, Emiru, Anthai, Blazin Rock, Christoph Marks, Crash Pinto, Genny Shelbert, Horace the Burb God, Curly, Malice, Omar Nunez, Philemon Landry, Quill of Anguish, Sophie, Sophisticated Fart, Tenchi Kanashiza, Destroy, Amzarine, Ben G, British Mapper, Creador, Dingda, Daniel Fiala, Daniel Huertes, Devin Gill, Yadgod, Eric Pedinelli, Esteban Arias, Fel, Fanaku, Full Yuki, Hoon Arthur, J. Paul, Johnny Boy, Justice Seer, Calfo Siromar, Kijubi, Ludwig III, Manuel, Metal M. Morgan, Negative KDA, OMG Clover, Orahal Conite, Oz, PKZ, RH, Stickbird 34, Suki 02, Terra, Tomato, Under, Uvo Plaja, Violin, Vivian, WLC League of Legends, Wolfman, Yan, Adam Goldwing, and Qingming Vang. Special shout out as well to all my YouTube members. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you for being a YouTube member. You guys will always see those people down below spamming weird emotes. And thank you to anyone who just likes, leaves a comment, or makes it this far in the video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.